Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Oklahoma City Metropolitan Area Public Schools Trust. First order of business is to approve the minutes of the March 7, 2017 meeting, and I would recognize a motion to that effect. Motion to approve. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. We have three sets of concurrence items. First one is concurrence with Independent School District number 89 and approving amendment number 2 to contract for architectural services with Renaissance Architects and Engineers, LLC, I-89 2007 School Bond Issue Project S70007 for gymnasiums at Heronville, Fillmore, Prairie Queen, Rockwood, Eugene Field, and Edwards Elementary Schools, an increase of $143,750. Mr. Todd.
As you said, Mr. Chairman, this is amendment for these schools. This is the gymnasium projects for Heronville, Fillmore, Prairie Queen, Rockwood, and Eugene Fields and Edwards. There were a lot of things with this many projects that can come up. There was some redesign at Edwards Gymnasium because of the flooding issues in there, so they did the redesign on that. Some additional civil work also. Then Rockwood Elementary had some fire damage. The roof caught on fire. They burned some materials there, so we had the architect go there and do some evaluation to make sure the structure was still safe. Prairie Queen had a trash enclosure that was rebuilt, and then because the contractor took longer than his time allotted for completing the job, for various reasons, the architect had a longer duration of what we call contract administration and what he had to oversee. So we are compensating him for all of those items within this project. And we recommend approval on that.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, we'll vote. Oh, I'm sorry, I need a motion to vote. Yeah, I need a motion to approve concurrence item A.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Item B, concurrence with the Independent School District number 89 to approve amendment number 2 to the architectural services contract with Richard L. Cavan, architect, doing business as Cavan Design Group for gymnasiums at Lee, Britton, Arthur, Thelma Parks, and Willowbrook Elementary Schools, an increase of $70,092.
Again, this is a gymnasium project for those schools that you just mentioned. We actually bid the project and did not receive any bids on this project because what we're told is there were so many sub-projects or schools within this main contract that they couldn't get enough superintendents to see over the project. So we ended up rebidding this and splitting it into 2 packages, of which we received bids, and they're now under construction. So this is to compensate the architect for splitting that into 2 packages and compensating him for additional work for those bidding documents. So instead of just having the single pre-bid meeting that already took place, now he has 2 pre-bid meetings and 2 pre-work meetings and 2 projects going on that are with different contractors. So this is to compensate them for that additional time.
Are there questions? Is there a motion for approval? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Item C is concurrence with School District number 89 to approve amendment number 1 to contract for architectural services with JHBR Architects for gymnasiums at Edgemere, Green Pastures, Wilson, and Spencer Elementary Schools, an increase of $25,000.
Similarly, again, a project of school bond money that we oversee for the gymnasiums, and there was significant community input on Green Pastures and on Wilson. In fact, Wilson became a substantial redesign because of the desires of the community through those community meetings. So this is to compensate the architect for additional design work.
Any questions? Not, I accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Mr. Flowers, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The progress report is pretty much the same as it was last time, with the exception of one item. I'll go through some of these. Maps for Kids projects. Construction is underway on the Cesar Chavez Elementary School classrooms and gym project. I-89 bond projects. There are 28 classroom and gym projects that are complete and final accepted. We continue to try to work with the school district on finalizing Taft Stadium. Construction's ongoing for 15 new gyms at elementary schools. Those are Britton, Parks, Willowbrook, Lee, Arthur, Hawthorne, Sequoia, Linwood, North Highland, Ridgeview, Cleveland, Shidler, Rancho Village, Quail Creek, and Western Village. The gym project at Wilson, the preliminary design is underway, and we have the next trust meeting scheduled for Tuesday, April 18th at 3 p.m. Also, after the meeting 2 weeks ago, Trustee Rooney asked me about some figures on where we are, revenues versus expenses to date. And staff has passed out a sheet that you should have in front of you. I'll just hit the high points of that summary, and then either I or other members of the staff can respond to questions. The total revenue to date is just over $411 million, and this is for Oklahoma City schools only. It does not include the suburban schools. The total projects completed and paid to date is a little over $343 million. Coming down in the middle of the page for active school projects, which are Emerson Alternative, Cesar Chavez, the roadway and drainage project, Capitol Hill High School, which is being done in conjunction or in association, I guess, with the Wellness Center that's under construction there under MAPS 3, and then Moon Elementary. What has been spent, committed, and projected on those four projects to date is $12,353,000. Other projects, which included transportation, which is buses, technology, computers, and other program expenses, to date is $50,745,000. So you take all that away from the revenue to date, and we are at a balance of about $4,780,000, which does include the $1.5 million for the admin building.
For what?
It includes the $1.5 million for the admin building.
Questions? Yes, sir.
You say that it includes the $1.5 million for the administration building. Where are those funds, and where we contributed to the purchase of the property on Classen that is not being used or is going to be sold, will we get those funds back?
Well, I understand that the school board voted earlier this month, correct me if I'm wrong, David, the school board voted earlier this month to proceed with the project on 615 Classen.
That's
correct?
what I understand, yes.
But yes, if they do decide to change their minds and go another direction and dispose of that building, then what funds were put into it from our point of view would have to be returned to the program. Is that accurate?
Yes, they'd have to be returned if they didn't continue to use that property, or they could show us proof that they used them in a similar manner.
Right.
How much did we contribute to that project?
What we did is we reimbursed them basically for the purchase of that building, and it was about $2.3 million.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Comments by trustees, staff, citizens? Thank you for being here. I appreciate your efforts. I know that it's not the easiest thing in the world to run down here for a 15-minute meeting, but I appreciate that we were able to get a quorum. Thank you, and we're adjourned.